Okay, recap for Monday the 9th of March 2026. Okay, so this is a day I haven't traded, right? For many reasons, right? It's a low probability day. And, you know, after seeing the large opening range gap and how much we've moved, right? This large opening range gap 600 and then we go up back 600. I don't know. We don't have news, right? I'm like I'm more inclined to wait for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where Wednesday we have CPI, and maybe look for a trade tomorrow here and there or something, right? Then trying to like I don't know potentially get a loss on this day, right? So that's my thought process. What am I thinking in terms of the 4 hour, the daily, whatever, right? So what we did with this large opening range gap, we had this kind of triple sell side liquidity, right? Relative equal loads, where we open and then go take all of them out. However, on SMT, we have relative equal lows where we don't take the low out. So we have a major SMT. So my main thing idea is bullish. However, I don't expect this to be a long-term low, right? It might be taken out by the end of this week, Thursday, Friday, or it might take next week to take it out, right? So I don't believe this low is staying intact, but we're just gonna have a retracement because this is our typical garbage market where we have heavy retracement and it's basically just a large consolidation, right? So mainly when I'm looking at the 4 hour now, I'm looking for a reason to go higher, right? In terms of liquidity wise, um we have two buy side liquidity. On top of it, there is a 4 hour gap, so that would be my target entering this gap. If I'm bullish and if I'm bearish, it's taking the low, but it's unlikely, right? I don't see a discount anything right there until well this closes at 10, but at the time it'd be this candle, right? I'm looking at it from 9:30. There isn't really much, so I'd have to go to the 1 hour, and I can see all of this is pretty much this part is a balanced price range, right? So from here to here is a balanced price range. So what does that do? Like if I'm seeking an expansion higher, right? We would expect some sort of manipulation lower, right? To go to our discount or the range if we're gonna do it today, right? So if we're gonna go discount to our range, I do expect us to always take one of them liquidities that I'm talking about. And to take this liquidity, we're gonna have to go into a balanced price range. And this price already rebalanced the 1 hour fair value gap and then moved higher. So there is no reason if we're really bullish to go this low, right? Because then technically we'd break the market structure and it would actually more likely be that we have a bearish day to go to this low. Because I don't expect that, I'm looking for higher prices. So my expectation for the day would come at we're not gonna seek discount for today. We're just gonna go higher, and this is one of the tendencies of some certain Mondays where we just open and just shoot up, right? So right. So that's the expectation. I'm expecting Monday. On top of that is our opening range gap and its quadrants, and we haven't even reached the midpoint. And I would like to see how price reacts around that area, or if we can close it, which is a draw on liquidity. So all signs lead to be more bullish than bearish. So what would I want to long, right? To go higher, I would want us to take this minus sell side liquidity. We have relative equal lows. It's also it's the initial sell side liquidity. So in a perfect world, we open with a Judas swing going lower, you know, maybe making this relative equal lows with this, then take it and then start heading higher, right? So that's what I would be looking for. And so we'll just wait for market open. I guess that's market open 9:30. As you can see, we go higher first. So now we're gonna see if we're gonna touch the midpoint of the opening range gap. Nope, we don't. I mean, not the opening range gap. Actually, we didn't check that, so that's something also to check. And we want to see if we're gonna hit the lower quadrant to confirm my bias. So if we go on quadrants, let's just remember where they're at, and we do hit the lower quadrant. So I do expect this to fill this gap now, right? So I'm still bullish, and This is fine. This gap is a 930 gap. However, we do take liquidity with it, which means I will be using that as my first presented fair value gap, right? This is a trade to take short in it when it's inversed and is below the weekly open, right? Take short to this low bar. I mean, is it enough points? Right, you know what? It's more than enough points if you took that short. That was a nice early entry trade, whatever. But I don't want to go against my bias. I'm long, whatever. But this would probably be the best or the cleanest trade, because if we're gonna do this, then that means we're most likely gonna have a garbage run up, right? Because we are waiting. Why? Why do we wait? Because on the 1 hour, like I said, we don't have anything of discount, right? We have this gap, right, with this on 4 hour, and that's right there is what we're looking for as a discount area. So this area. On top of that, why do we have to wait? Because the 4 hour needs to close, right? While I'm watching this close, creating a fair value gap. So I'd be looking at the 10 a.m. low as well. So let's just see when we take the low. Right there, we take the low. I know I have this mark, but of course I'm gonna be watching this one. Once we enter the gap, right, I'll just be waiting for 10. Just make sure we do fill all of it. So that's just an eye to watch for. So right now, it's just risky, right? Because below this is entering a 4 hour gap that could push us higher, and I could not care less what we're doing until we get above the first presented. So no, I would not take any of these. Nothing's happening. I'm waiting for that 10 low, right? So that 10 low, the lowest low at 10, would enter us into a 4 hour first presented. So now what we could do, we could take out this low, or we could SMT with this low, and that would be nice. I don't know if we would SMT, but let's just see. Higher low. I'm watching this inversion, and just let's say this inverses or it doesn't. Alright, cool. Yes. Perfect. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright, so now, and let's just say I was watching that, then I'm looking to buy limit this because this has to be the entry, right? Okay, I was gonna say because there was no way it's gonna go higher without entering that. Anyway, stop loss. Well, original stop loss, right, at the limit order would be here. Now that it went up higher, I'm just break even, right? I wouldn't expect we lose this fair value gap, or well, my maximum should be for the stop loss is below the midpoint at that. But because of the volatility, just think of an imaginary stop losses here, right? There, just an imaginary stop loss. But because of this volatility and to be safe, let's just say I'd put it. Where's my fair value gap? Hmm. Let's just say I put it here, right? Just because of the volatility. But my ideal stop loss would be here. It just depends how I'm feeling for the day. And I would be looking at this gap, right? And I would be looking for this to close above the first presented. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bit questionable. Okay, we come back. Oh, okay. See, I don't like that, and for sure my stop loss would 100% be at break even, right? Let's just watch this level. Okay. Okay, we don't hit it yet. Alright, cool. So that was just, and if we come back, I would probably add here, right? Once we invest this gap, because this, it's just BS, right? Like that's all I can explain it with you. Like we shouldn't be coming this low, but again, the stop loss would have been safe. It just like is pushing it to the edge. You know what I'm saying? This like it's grinding it to the edge. Anyway, now what we should have done here is get up above the first presented fair value gap. So I'm guessing next candle we use the midpoint here. Perfect. I mean, I guess another entry at this stop loss at this low. And now, once we get in, perfect. You can see that we already should be break even. And then at the time, the TPs would seem too far, but we would have to minimally go to here. So I'd put a limit here. And then if we're going to get to this high, then I expect that 4-hour fair value gap that I set, right? And that is how I will trade the day, right? If I'm just normally, I did see it higher up, but I can't remember if it got to this gap or not. But this is how you trade the day. The only problem is, I would say, is, well, there isn't really a problem. I explained why it was delayed, right? Because we need that 10 a.m., right? The only reason this doesn't go like this low, doesn't like this entry comes in here, is because of that 4-hour fair value gap that hasn't opened yet. So that's why we didn't shoot up there. But if we shot up above the first presented, it would not matter for me, right? I would enter on the first presented, and I would not expect us to hit the 4-hour fair value gap. That I'm assuming we hit it. I'm gonna have to come check all this stuff, right? Because I told you I haven't traded the day. I barely even checked the day, and I remember it went up, but I don't know if we even hit the TPs. So um yeah, it's just, and of course we're gonna want just to run on the whole bar for discount or the range, and let's just say stop loss realistically should be, and I know it's a fast stop loss, but like, as assuming it will never reach type of stop loss, is the higher the first presented, because I can see smallly here there's this gap that I would allow for if we really just want to wick, right? And I guess let's just let that run. What time is it? Yep, there we go. There we go. So yeah, that's the market. I know that it looks messy, and that's why my charts look messy, because after you do all this stuff, um, and yeah, we closed. So yeah, we hit the TPs, we hit the gap in front of the TPs, blah blah blah. I guess it wasn't that bad of a Monday, right? It was still bad, right? I wouldn't say it's the easiest, right? Because a nice, clean, easy Monday would just be a normal, right? We'd stall here, right? We'd wait for around 10, and then we'd dump with the Judah, and then we'd do that. So let me just double check that we have visited the 4-hour gap I'm talking about. Or am I waffling, right? Looks like I'm waffling right there. Oh, it's the low. It's the low for the 10 a.m. one. It's still the same concept though, right? Where is it? Yep, right there. Regardless, we got that SMT. Let me just double check. That's actually so weird. What's this? Let me dash that low. Oh no. What am I talking about? It, this is the reason, because we do SMT. That's what I meant. Oh my! I literally forgot my train of thought, man. Anyway, yes, we don't hit this gap and we make it a breakaway gap, right? But we do have the expectations that we're gonna do it. But the fact that we SMT'd and we don't, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And yeah, why would you expect it to go that high? Is because the liquidity stuff I'm talking about. Like, we have to hit the TPs that, we're either gonna have to hit those or we're gonna have to hit those. It's gonna be one of them. Otherwise, nothing happens. It's gonna happen, and I'm guessing that's why we did it. Yep, at the final hour macro, which saw at 3:15, and that's why we had to go up parabolic like that, almost 270 handles or whatever, right? Because it's unfinished business, and the final hour macro will finish the business, right? Why these highs specifically is because these are the regular trading hour highs, right? Look at them. Closing our opening range gap that we haven't closed. That's what specifically we're going that high. And since we go that high, let's say we're basically done for the day, right? And the market should consolidate. I mean, it does consolidate because it's in the end of the day. Like, let's say we done this at like, I don't know, 12, right? Lunch. We were here. We were gonna consolidate and just do nothing for literally the entire 2 sessions. So yeah. Anyway, that's the market recap. I hope it was helpful, but yeah, it's helpful for me. Peace out.